Hey guys and girls, just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Buzzsprout. Start a podcast today with free podcast hosting for Buzzsprout, easy podcasting software for hosting, promoting, and tracking your podcast. Buzzsprout is the best way to publish a podcast online for secure and reliable hosting to full iTunes support. Get started for free, no credit card required, cancel at any time.
Stats are for losers.
That's why we took the damn field. Now, if you want to crown them, then crown their ass.
This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is.
You play to win the game.
Welcome to the Airin and I podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Airing It Out podcast. Today, I am super duper lucky to have a friend of mine, Damian, on the show. How you doing, Damian?
Doing great. Glad to be here.
Awesome. What's been going on? Talk to me, man. How's the corona treating the fam and everything?
Well, like we were talking about, just different things every single day. Our company's been put on hold because we do tickets for Superbowl, Masters, Kentucky Derby.
Damn, I should have reached out to you, bro.
Yeah.
So to pause on that real quick, you just would go to your site or something like that, and you'd pick everything, and from the beginning to the end, you would make the experience. Let's say.
But typically, what happens is people will just come to us and say, "Look, this is our idea. This is what we're thinking about doing. This is how we want it to play out. Now you go run with it." And so let's just say they want to take 20 people to the Kentucky Derby, and they want to make sure that it's just a pristine event. And they want hotel rooms, and they want limousine transfers, things like that. Well, then we get on it. We get our team there. We find out where they would like to sit. We put together multiple options for them, get them their proposals, and find out what they want to do. And then once they agree on what type of level they want to take their guests to, we run everything for them. So we organize the tickets, we organize the hotels, we organize the transportation. If they want to do any kind of dinners or pregame parties, post-game gifts, things like that, we put everything together so that basically when they're there, they're concentrating on one thing: spend time with their guests. I always tell people it's like Wizard of Oz. We're behind the curtain, and they're the ones that should be looking good. So, yeah, but it's been fun. We've been doing it for 11
could
years.
like an average Joe come up to, like, if let's say I said, hey, I wanted to plan something, you do for the small fry too? Because
Sure.
I mean, some of that stuff sounds expensive. If somebody wants to go to the Kentucky Derby
is,
with 20 people
yeah.
and want the flying and all this other stuff, right?
There's a difference between like the budget for Verizon and Damian's budget. So, I mean, that's quite a big difference
sure.
right there. That's huge. But no, I mean, some of my favorite events we've ever done is the father-son. And it
What's
just makes
that?
me think about, they might just be like, hey, I want to take my dad.
Just the father. I thought that was a specific event.
No,
you're
like
just saying fathers
I want
and
to take
sons.
my dad to the Masters. What is the cost efficient way for me, who works 40 hours a week,
Wow.
and my dad's been a golf fan forever, and his 60th birthday or 70th birthday is coming up? How could I get out to the Masters? Could you help me? Those are my favorite events to put together because I think about when I took my dad to the Masters for the first time, because what I'm lucky enough to be doing for a living. And then I think about the time I spend with my boys, Jackson's 7, Caden's 5, and the memories that we're already having with them, to think about when we get older, I want to do more things with them. So the father-sons, the anniversary trips, we've had wives that come up and they're like, I want to take my husband to the Kentucky Derby. How do we do that? Or I want to take him to the U.S. Open.
There's wives that do that. So sweet.
I know.
Right? Because I would never, I don't know if Tabby would call up for me.
I hope actually.
I think I've gotten her into sports a little bit more now. I think she likes baseball, but that's a really sweetheart to like be like, hey, because I'm in a Masters, that's like a whole weekend, right?
Sure.
It's not
But
just
you
a
can
day.
go individually during the day. And that's the thing, is that
You set
basically-
up however the person wants it.
And I will work with whatever budget they want to, what they're willing to do. And like
So-
I said, they could be super expensive, but it could also be just, a husband and wife enjoying a day on the course, or like the U.S. Open. U.S. Open's always one of my favorite tournaments to work with.
I know I was working at a place in Irvine and they said it was great. I never got to go, but I heard it's an amazing experience.
Well, the Sunday of U.S.
That's
Open.
the one in, the U.S. Open. Sorry, I
Yeah.
was talking about, is that the one in Augusta?
That's Masters.
Sorry. Masters.
Yeah, U.S.
Okay.
Open rotates from course
But that's
to course
the
to
tennis
course.
U.S. Open or the golf U.S. Open?
Golf U.S. Open.
Okay,
U.S.
where's that?
Open in tennis is always
In
at Flushing
Queens,
Meadows. Yes.
yes.
U.S. Open for golf, it transfers, rotates around the country.
They pick different locations.
Yes, but
Got it.
that they always choose in June. The Sunday is Father's Day. So you
that's
get
cool.
a lot of fathers and sons that want to go spend the day on the course. I'm like, this
Got
is
you.
awesome.
That's
You know,
nice.
And
That's nice. I like that.
Relatively inexpensive event.
Right.
So it's kind of fun to do and just get everybody out there. The most important thing is we just want to help people build a memory. That's what I want.
Man, I wish I would have asked you, bro. So let me ask you now, because I'm like, this is, so funny when we met each other at the bar and you think you get to talk to somebody and ask, but I've always told Tabitha, as a dude, I never ever ask guys what they do.
Right.
Because I feel like it's almost kind of like insulting because you're trying to put them in a box in some kind of category, right? So I'll learn about everything else and the job is the last thing.
Right.
So it's fascinating that this is your gig. What I wanted to ask you was how much, let's say, a mediocre ticket to the Super Bowl will go for? So one.
The Super Bowl has got it out of control. So here's what they say. They say the fans like you and I, we go to the AFC, NFC championship game.
Got you.
The Super Bowl is a corporate event. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't know. There's only 500 tickets available to the general public for the Super Bowl.
Who do they give the rest to?
They all go to corporate sponsors, the teams.
Wow. So it's like a family thing. Basically, if you got 52 guys times 2 people, that's enough to fill half.
Not only that,
right.
but if you played one season in the NFL, you get Super Bowl tickets every year.
Get out of here.
If you retire, Jerry Rice, he gets 8 tickets every single year.
I know, but Jerry Rice is Jerry Rice. If you were like a third stringer,
you get 2 tickets.
Wow.
And you don't have to get them, but you have access to them. That's
amazing.
If you want. Our friends, when
do they give them to you for free, or you have to buy them?
You have to buy them.
Even Jerry Rice has to buy them,
but you buy them at face value.
And is that
so? Maybe
what's $65?
$800, maybe.
Okay.
But then you turn around, and that ticket is worth maybe $4,000 to a hospitality company, and maybe that ticket's worth $6,500. And see, they never get specific seats,
right?
So
I think if you're in the building, it's cool enough, right?
100%.
Have you went?
I've been to 6.
Okay, shit. Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
All right, great segue. So what I want to ask you first, when you get it, and I know that you could obviously build the experience how you want, do normally people go for like a weekend kind of thing and then they have like, a challenges or silly things leading up to the Super Bowl,
sure.
Right? Like a Saturday event and right?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Do you get to go to those too?
Sure.
And that costs more money, or is that included with the ticket?
Usually they're all add-ons. It's like going to a great steakhouse and getting the steak. But it's like, I want a beer and I want mashed potatoes. I'm like, no problem, I'll get you that.
Right.
But that's another item. And that's only because that's just
it's a Super Bowl.
Works.
And now, again, is that the pinnacle sports event to go to, right?
Yeah. Super Bowl and Masters are the top 2.
Got it.
Those are the most corporate events.
Now, does Masters 2 go crazy in the price rangings?
Yes.
They go up and down depending on?
Yeah,
wow.
depending on the days. Most people want to go on Thursdays.
So I could only imagine if we don't have a Super Bowl this year, 2021's Super Bowl prices are probably going to be astronomical, correct?
Okay, so
Talk to me.
That's the weird thing.
Let's go.
That's the different part. Typically, they would be. We got to find out where we will be in February of 2021. If we're still fighting this crisis and this pandemic, people may not be willing to travel. People may not be willing to sit next to someone in a stadium.
Crazy.
Which could drop prices dramatically.
Right.
I mean, could you imagine?
So we could go for like 1,000, let's say, versus
you might
6,400.
Go for 500. Or you may not be allowed at all. If they decide that no fans are allowed in the stadium because they need the
that's
safety
a whole
of the
other thing
players.
too now.
So then that's it. It changes not just monthly, it changes weekly and daily and sometimes hourly. I mean,
also, too, it's got to change on who's playing too, right? Because if it's like Tennessee and some other scrubby team, it's not going to be an outcome. But if it's like Patriots and freaking Cowboys, right, it's got like 10,000.
100%. And, I mean, you think about this, like the Cowboys were in the Hall of Fame game coming up in August, right? Mm-hmm. We had inquiries from clients saying, could you get us tickets? We were looking at our contacts
in Ohio?
In Canada.
Yeah, I've been there. It's an amazing facility.
So we're putting this kind of program together, right? In less than 12 hours, the game was canceled. So it's changing on a dime. And you just have to be able to,
to be the swivel.
Dodging.
So now you're doing all of this, right? You said that right now your company is paused, but you're still constantly watching it to see when you can get back into it, right? You're playing like double dutch, right? Like, okay, jump in.
Yep, we're
right?
trying to find out.
You're not like, I'm done with this. You're going to continue to try to hopefully press forward with this, right?
I mean, definitely. We do a lot of things with Broadway plays. We know.
Damn, I should have called you.
They're going dark.
No. I'm saying when me and Tabby went to New York, man, like I was trying to, it's really, and first of all, I want to thank you for many reasons. Number one, for coming on the show. Number two, for providing the service. It's so much work having to set up a vacation, an event, all those little small nuances when you can actually have someone, and maybe you might have to pay a fee, but if I can just do it and just put my hands up, because I'm already stressing out on how is it going to be, how am I going to be, and all these other outside elements that for sure I would have loved, because we booked a couple stuff and it was just me doing it, and I lost money and I screwed up a couple things, and then I was trying to get tickets to Hamilton, and Hamilton was, woo! woo! They had like a corner seat for like 4, and I was like, but you know, if you could negotiate and put something together, like I said, man, I hope they bring
on Disney Plus tonight, baby.
Right. Well, that's why I waited. But yeah, it was funny for me. I have an interesting connection with Hamilton again. Sorry, because it's a guy from Washington Heights, which was a neighborhood in New York City that I grew up hanging out around a lot. And I'm not mistaken. He's either Puerto Rican or I might be mistaken. Excuse me. He's either Puerto Rican or Dominican. And again, my people. So for someone from an inner city of a diverse Spanish background to have like a killer Broadway show, I mean, it's like, woo, good job. At least represent. Finally, we put up a W. Have you seen it?
I have not, but we are going to watch it tonight.
Got you. Perfect. Because it's Friday night.
Sure.
All right. So I wanted to go backwards a little bit. 6. Okay. Was one of them the one here?
No.
That
was before I actually got into this industry.
Got you.
So yeah.
So which was, tell me a couple of the ones that way I can.
The first one was in Miami.
Okay, was
the only Super Bowl ever to have rain?
Gotcha. So that's Colts Bears.
Yes.
So how electrifying? Because I always watch highlights all the time. How electrifying was it to see Hester right out the gate just go to the house?
Okay, so when they kicked off to him, I was in the end zone that he was returning to, and so when he went, when he got there to that corner of the end zone, that was probably like 30 rows in front of me.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe it. I mean, number one, I was at the Super Bowl for the first time in my life.
That must have been amazing.
Number
and to see Peyton too.
Peyton there, the Bears.
Right.
Hester, maybe the best return man of all time.
For sure.
And it's raining on us. And you know what? I don't
so
think
you
I
have to
felt
wear like
one drop
one
of
of those plastic
ponchos. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I felt rain one
it
time.
wasn't those. It wasn't like a torrential downpour, right? It was just like a
It's
constantly,
a Miami storm. Yeah.
Right. And I think halftime is stopped.
Yep.
Right. And then the third quarter
we were fine from there on. Yeah.
It sucks. That game, in my opinion, had more potential because I thought Peyton was going to go crush and do like a Steve Young a la Joe Montana and maybe put up like 4 or 5 touchdowns. Yes. But it didn't work out like that due to the rain. And the Bears, I think Rex Grossman was a quarterback at that time, and he was a jobber, in my opinion. Yeah. And he also made the Bears offense not look too good. It was a very sloppy played game, but it was good to see Hester. I was pissed. So I was bartending in Brooklyn, and I had on a official Peyton Manning jersey, and everybody at the bar was a Bears fan. And I remember being so mad when they won. Was it? No. That wasn't it. Sorry. I was referring to the Peyton Saints game. Excuse me. I misspoke. But yeah, I was expecting more out of that game.
Right.
But it was nice to see Peyton actually get his first.
Oh, yeah.
After going through all the tough stuff with New England and dealing with all that. So okay, so that was 1. What was 2?
Oh, I wouldn't even know if I could put them in order.
Okay, whatever did you remember?
Yeah. Carolina and Denver was up in San Francisco.
I was going to say
Santa
that was Super Bowl 50.
Right. I did the Niners and Ravens
in New Orleans. So you was in the blackout?
Yes.
How was that? Was it so weird? So were you on the blackout side or not the blackout side? Because half
we
of
were on
it,
the
right?
blackout side. Yep. Yeah. And here's the sad thing about that. So again, I'm in the end zone, right? It's
by the way,
and goal.
Not to interrupt you, is that always the best seat?
No, it just happens to be sometimes what I'm left over with or what I can maybe pick up at the
Is it better the sideline things? Is that was more expensive? Because I would think end zone is pretty good, right? Because they switch sides every quarter, so you get a chance to see the offense come up.
One difficult thing about the end zone is when it's on the opposite side of the field and say it's a 3rd and 6, and they run forward, you don't know if they picked up 1 yard or if they picked up 4 yards.
Right, because you're looking directly at it. So you kind of need a bit of an angle.
If you were in zone, I would prefer to sit higher. Then it looks like you're playing real life Madden. You're like you see from the very top. Yeah,
right. The bird's eye view.
Corner's great. I mean, of course,
that's why I was always in Qualcomm. There was on the visiting team side. There was a back corner that was always shady, no matter how hot it got, and I would always stay there because man, it got hot at Qualcomm too. Sometimes 101 on the field.
See, and that's one of the problems that Santa Clara's having with the Niners right now. Not to get off topic.
No, it's good.
They built 70% of their fan base sits in the sun from 1 to 4 p.m.
I wouldn't go to that game.
So,
because it's a long. And the thing to me is that you're drinking. Right. If it would be cool if we were just having some water coolers and I'm all right, but I'm pounding beer, I'm getting dehydrated, and the sun is whipping my butt. It's not a good day.
Terrible. I mean, and you're sitting there and 80 degrees in Santa Clara is different from 80 degrees in Santa Clara on a stadium seat.
So is Santa Clara, because they're supposed to be the Niners, which is so weird, from San Fran, it's more east. That's why it gets hotter, because I would think it's closer to the water, it'd be cooler, right? But it's not. It's more east.
And, it's 45 minutes away from San Francisco. So that's, it's a different trek down there.
Got you. How closer was Candlestick? was like 20 minutes away.
Oh, not even that.
Really?
Yeah. It was
Wow.
probably 4, 5, 6 miles. Yeah. From the
So I
city.
want to get back to this because I thought it was the most trippiest thing I ever seen. They turn off the lights in a Super Bowl. Who does this? How did you guys not have like a light run and like turn off the switches a bunch of times and be like, okay, we're good. This is about the biggest game we're about to play of our lives in this building.
Being a Niner fan, at the time the lights went out, I was like, thank God something's happening our way for a second. Because this is seriously bad right now. What's happening? Yeah.
It was so bad.
And then the
I
lights
can't believe
came-
he outcoached his brother so quickly.
100%.
Right?
I mean, but also, again, being a Niner fan, seeing the style of play they played at that time with Kaepernick, they went away from it in the Super Bowl. It's almost like you get away from what you do well.
Listen,
Kyle Shanahan did in the fourth quarter this year. You know,
listen, we talk about it all the time. A good friend of mine, he loves football. He's been on the show. I don't understand why these coaches like throw away the game plan that got them there. Look, if you're gonna lose, at least this was your bread and butter. You know it. Run with
your
it,
way. Lose
right?
with your
I feel like they
bolts
try to
and
get
guns.
creative. And they end up losing.
What we saw with the Rams and Patriots.
Right. And that's what I was going to say. The only team I've ever seen never throw away the game plan is the Pats.
Yep.
They just stick with it. They go for 4 quarters. You run out of gas in the third and a half.
Right.
And then they win the game.
Yep.
Right? And that's what they're
And they
saying.
stay with their game plan.
That's
you know?
it.
And when McVay got against them, I think McVay started thinking, oh, we're not just the Rams. We're playing a team that doesn't lose.
Right.
And so how can I be smarter than...
You gotta think yourself out the box. It's the same thing that happened with Carroll. I don't know if you've seen that Super Bowl live. Yeah. Instead of running it up
handing him the ball?
Marshawn Lynch right up the middle, you get creative and you want to throw this like whimsical slat route that needs a bump to get a release. I'm like, bro, you lost the game.
Falcons, Patriots.
That's another one.
If you sit there and if you think about time of possession, how many minutes left in the game? How many possessions they possibly can get, even if you go 4 and out, but you're running the ball using those 40 seconds, right? There wasn't enough time for them to come back. You didn't need, that's where you don't need the points to score.
Right.
You need just the ball control. And again,
how do you
I
go
mean, I'm not an
24
NFL coach, but
24-0 and you can't hold it down?
28-3.
Come
even
on,
closer.
man. Come on, man.
So, but no, we've been fortunate. We've been to a couple of Super Bowls, and
That's
I've been
awesome.
able to be a couple Masters, and
That's great.
The derbies and things. But and that's one of the benefits of the job, and that's what you
So
do.
with you is when you say leftovers, is it like sometimes you buy a lot of bulk to try to resell and you get stuck with?
Could be.
Okay.
There could be sometimes when you have a very good client that you've known and built a great relationship with, and they've had a last minute cancellation, and they're like, "Hey, Damian, would you like this ticket?" Or Nikki and I were able to go to one in Indianapolis.
Who played there?
That was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
Because I'm usually
was
a
that
savant.
Giants and Patriots, maybe?
It could be. Yes, it was.
Was
His
it?
first.
Yeah, okay.
I believe so because that was he won in Peyton's house, I think, the first
Right.
time when they were undefeated.
And then they won the other one in Arizona, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was that one. And that
Damn, you've been to a bunch of good ones. The only one that seems to like not really thing was I would probably say the Denver one because they host the Panthers. And then the Bears. But outside of that, I mean, you still got to watch.
Yes.
Come on, Cam Newton.
We've been blessed. Yeah.
Tom Brady, which is on my to-do list. They said that they play here. But it sucks because I was like, shucks, man. Now that I got your plug, they play in
Up in LA. Yeah.
against the Chargers, and we're not going to see the game because they've already announced that they're letting go of week 1 and week 2 of the preseason. So who knows how much more days and games they're
And
going to be.
today the NFLP, they said that they don't want 3 and 4 either. They'd rather they don't feel comfortable. And I understand their
So basically, I mean,
no preseason.
so the only thing that I get concerned about that is that the play is going to be so sloppy. There's going to be tons of injuries because these guys are like physically ready to take the pounding.
Right.
And I mean, that might lead to just a hot mess of football. I
Right.
mean, and then I don't even know, no sound. That's going to sound crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like no fan noise.
Yeah.
No home field advantage.
And you think about the rookies coming in, right? The quarterbacks.
That was another thing I was going to say too. How do you now fill depth charts?
Sure.
Right. You have 73 men rosters that you kind of have to nail down to the 52, 53. How do you get to evaluate talent now? Which I seen killed the MLB. They no minor league, right? And then tell me a little bit about this because I'm sure you're more dialed in. I've been moving and everything. They said that they were doing like a lottery. So what happened? They put all the players from within the whole organization into a pool, and then they picked them. Is that the way the teams did it this season?
It's so if I think what you're talking about, it's for each team,
Right.
They can protect a certain amount of players.
Gotcha.
So
that pool, it was so
Yeah.
they threw everybody in, or you kept them what you had,
can keep the ones you want,
and then you
so-
threw the rest in the pool.
Sure. So since we're in San Diego, the Padres,
Right.
Obviously, Tatis is going to be in that protected pool. But you can go down to your certain minor league systems too, and you can protect a couple players from there too.
Wow.
Again, it's just leagues are trying to figure out what can we do. I mean, they dropped it to 5 rounds this year. I mean, think about that. 5 rounds in a Major League Baseball draft.
Well, it's normally 7?
It's I think it's in the 30s or 40s.
Rounds of what?
I mean, back in the day, Mike Bowser went the 60 or 70.
Yeah, no, I know. I know the NFL went. Had a bunch, but dang,
it's crazy. NFL, you have 2 rounds. I mean, you have your 7 rounds, but your first 2 rounds, the most important rounds, right? They didn't get to bring anybody in to do. It's not about. In that part is that's your investment. That's not even about talent. It's about you're giving millions of dollars to a person. How do you know the background of that person is prepared or qualified or has a support system to handle that money coming in?
I thought it was really interesting. I think Brady might have got fined, or they were talking about finding him, and I forget what other quarterback, but they're training with dudes already. Right. So like, you know, thank God you have like certain leadership to at least maybe test your offensive guys, because there's no way you're going to test your D guys that you drafted, right? You got to wait and see and put them on the field. I mean, it's going to be really challenging now for these coaches to be, I don't know, what a mix up.
And then you figure from there, I'll tell you, the MVPs this year, they're going to be the trainers. In every single sport, it's going to be trainers. Baseball is now going to become it went from a marathon to a sprint.
Right.
So how are the trainers going to be able to handle I mean, you go on the DL for 10 days. That's, what is that? That's 20% of your season right there. You know, football, you're going to go from basically not having any on-field interaction or a ton of it where you can do a lot of contact stuff. And then you're going to throw them right into week 1 without any preseason. There goes quads, there goes knees, there go, Achilles, torn pecs, things of that nature. Look at basketball. You don't think when the basketball players came back and said, look, what we want some kind of protection. We want some kind of insurance policy if we're going to go down to Orlando and play, because if we get COVID or if we get hurt in this situation that we're not prepared for, our career's over. And we know basketball's got crazy money, right? So I see why they want those insurance policies.
I agree.
So hockey's another one, and poor Vegas, they're going to lose everything because they had the hockey coming. They had possibly basketball coming. Well, basketball said, nope, we're going to Orlando. Hockey's now thinking about going to Canada.
Really?
Well, because the influx of the COVID cases in Nevada. Wow.
And then they were building the new house, that monstrosity.
That's going to be beautiful though.
Right. But at least they're there, right? Yep. So they can't, whatever the case. And they're playing there this season, right? Just like LA, and LA is playing in their new building.
Yeah. And they'll share it with UNLV, and they'll get their certain amount of home games that they'll be able to play too.
That's awesome.
So,
so UNLV gets a super upgrade.
They are like, what happened for Christmas? This is the best Christmas present in a long. I mean, that's going to help them with recruiting, And the reason I bring them up is now San Diego State has another battle in a division battle because UNLV, who's kind of always been a doormat,
right,
in the Mountain West. Well, you got a sparkly, nice, beautiful building with better
facilities like crazy. Yeah,
so that's going to lure people in,
right?
And so
especially recruits
built here.
Yeah, and then I mean, not to take a shot at our facilities here, but State it can't. No. And they were already dragging their feet giving these poor guys that stadium, right? Like, what are we doing, San Diego? You let a pro team leave. Now, potentially, you don't want to take care of a college squad. And then, you're talking about... And then this is another thing, too, why I don't understand why it was such a big deal. But maybe that's something that they think that's good. We were, like, undefeated in basketball for, I don't even know, 25 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
Or I don't even know how they play games in college ball. But... why would you not think like, hey, we should invest some money? Like we obviously, and I'm not going to say that those guys are scrubs, but they're definitely no-namers, right? And then, so if you did it with that, shucks, imagine if you built a nicer facility and you could compete with some of these other things, because we're already got to deal with what? UCLA, USC, some of these other universities going even north, and San Diego State, I mean, I like it. The gym is cute and the track facility is nice, but their field is not great and where they practice on is not great. And it's like...
yeah.
Sam,
I mean,
right? San Diego just doesn't seem like we don't get it, right? Yeah. I don't know.
And we have everything you want,
right?
I mean, everything that. I mean, if I was 18 or 19 or 20 years old, why would I not want to come to San Diego? I mean, you have the beaches. I mean, you meet the mountains in 2 hours. You have beautiful weather, and people are choosing Boise State. You're choosing. I mean, nothing against Boise State, nothing against Gonzaga. But I'm just thinking about this, the scenery that we have here, the quality of life.
Well, maybe now if we can couple that, at least if they don't give us the facilities, maybe we could couple that with them winning often.
Right.
Because I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter about where your school is. It's about what's going to give me the best chance to be pro. And San Diego State, maybe not. Boise State, maybe. I don't know. Right. You know what I mean? Because you might be able to shine. And, I heard here it's really crazy and competitive. Like they got backups to the backups to the backups. Like guys are fighting for spots, even on the football teams, where it's like, hey, I think I'm good. It's like, good luck. You're not going to just go. Like even Grossmont is competitive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you wouldn't even, they're not even on the radar like that. But San Diego seems to be a huge hub for sports. I don't know why we didn't spend more money. It seems like we spend a lot of money on the high school level, but after the high school level, we kind of just be like, and then, because doing the Mission Trails Little League stuff, and I've spoken to a couple of guys, I think the San Diego Stars, are you familiar with them? I had one of their coaches and I think presidents on the show, and he was saying that a lot of these kids end up going to play up in LA, and you got big powerhouse clubs in LA, and you can't even compete down here. You know what I mean? Like if you're the next what's the kid from Vegas? If you're the next Bryce Harper, you're probably not going to want to play in San Diego, right? You're going to probably want to play a little bit in LA to get the shine, because I don't know. I mean, we've had publicity, right? We've had the Reggie Bushes, the Alex Smiths, the Marcus Allens. Who am I missing? We've had a couple guys, but even the gentleman who just won the World Series. As a pitcher.
Oh, Strasburg.
Right? But we could maybe have more if we catered to that a little bit more.
I mean, if you think about it, we have the we have the baseball World Series MVP, San Diego. We have the NBA MVP, Kawhi Leonard from San Diego. Wow. And there was a lot of people that talked about in that Chiefs game, had it been the running back, he was from San Diego.
Really?
I mean, of course, they were going to give it to Mahomes, but you're talking about the 3 professional sports and the MVPs
at the toppest levels. Yes,
right. That had
I'll take it.
A tie to San Diego. So 2 being San Diego State.
I know that was really sad for me too, because as the COVID started to ramp up, I wanted to take the podcast to a whole nother level, and I felt like, man, this is a great hub. A lot of people really aren't leveraging how much sports are here and trying to use it to grow. But then COVID happened. It's like, man, forget about me trying to ask somebody for a sponsorship. Forget about me trying to get more coaches on and so on and so forth. I almost felt like the responsible thing was kind of to take a step back and really see what was going on. But yeah, man, even women's basketball here is good. Some of the coaches from Grossmont go to the Pioneer, and they were awesome and great to come up with. So yeah, I hope but again, I'm nervous now with all of these closures, right? And I get concerned about the shelf life of San Diego, right? Is it going to always be, I mean, can the La Jollas and the Del Mars always hold us down in the sense of how local business here does? Because I feel like if we continue to close stuff here, it'd be more catastrophic to our economy specifically. Already, a lot of people go up north to get jobs as it is, right? What do you feel?
Yeah, no, I feel too. I mean, we all know when the closures start happening, and we could be going for round 2 coming up very shortly, as early as next week in restaurants, and typically from there that follows to parks, which means youth sports. And then how long does that going to happen from there? We were talking more employees being furloughed or laid off, and again, I think that's the most frustrating part to everybody, is that you just don't know what's going to happen next week. This thing keeps bouncing around, keeps jumping around, and not only is it affecting people in their jobs, things like that, but when you go back home, it's affecting your family life. No matter what you want, you can have the happiest marriage in the world. And when you're going home and you're facing, how are we going to make the mortgage next month? That adds a little bit of stress. Well, the stress adds a little bit more of a problem, and then you have the kids, and I mean, like I said, I have my 2 boys and I love them to death. And I actually enjoy doing the homeschool thing with them. It's fantastic. But then you see them and you see their faces, and you're like, they're missing their friends. They're missing they should be maturing in certain ways, especially socially, right? At this age, it's not so much they need to learn algebra and, how to write a 9-page paper, but they need to know how to take instruction from another adult, whether that be a teacher or a coach or, a different individual. And so it hits every aspect of work, family, stress. Everything seems to be going that way. And talking about jobs being able to go from San Diego to LA or Orange County back and forth, California's getting hit hard. Yeah. So I don't even know if that's the opportunity to even go up there, or vice versa for them to come down here, because it's almost like California is going to hit the pause button again. And when that happens, we're at the mercy of what is going to happen with unemployment. What's going to, so
there's different avenues to go down and try to figure things out. And, the thing is, you just wish people the best. I mean, figure if you stay healthy, you're going to figure it out sooner or later. Just if we stay healthy and we end up losing our house or we lose a car or we lose something like that, that is something that can be fixed.
Sure.
We lose someone, a member of our family.
Right.
We lose somebody that we know really, really well. That's not going away.
No, yeah, not at all. I was shocked and amazed that like they showed this like Southern Cal map and like they colored it in and there was like one piece not colored in and that was SD with some of the forced closures that Newsom decided to pass on like 12 other areas, not including San Diego, which was very weird. But I was happy to see that at least Faulkner or whoever was in charge was like, hey, let's jump on the bandwagon if they don't invite us. But the beach thing is going to be an interesting thing, right? We're going to see how many people head to the beach and do this whole. I don't know I kept thinking about it. So last night I was watching 1984. I forget who directed it, but it was eerily scary.
Really?
And then I backed that up with V for Vendetta, which even made it worse. But it's just really, really, really interesting to see how the controls are being handled at this point, and the fact that again, I feel that. I hope we don't get left out to dry just because people want to go to the beaches. And then so watching those two films, right, I was like, man, is it going to be like freaking Independence Day just in reverse? Like 4th of July is going to be freedom for a different reason now, right? And then you had all of this other, uproars about social movements. What a way to end everything on our national holiday, right? Where, okay, 4th of July, I mean, I think, what was it? Florida is like averaging like 10K cases a day. And like when you see these numbers, you're like, what is happening? And so again, for us not to be that shade colored on the map, I just hope people are responsible and do the right thing.
And I think that's been a great thing about San Diego is that we were able to open earlier than a lot of other places because we were doing the right things. And it makes me proud to be in a city where I got half my life. I've been over for 20 years. And to be in a city to sit there and watch what we're doing the right way, I think that's amazing. I mean, that's something to applaud the efforts of everybody around it. It seems like, hey, we're sharing the same ideas. We're doing the things that we should be doing.
I think some of us were even faster because, bro, as soon as I heard word, I make fun of Tabitha now because I sometimes, especially now being a dad, I guess you worry a little bit more. And when the finance is on you, you kind of try to think, and I'd be reading every article. And then as soon as I was like this random thing going off China, I'm like, a lot of Asian people travel all around the world. This could come here and mess some stuff up. And at the rates they were going, and once they were like, I was like, shut it down. I didn't even play around. The only thing I missed out on was the paper run.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I didn't expect all of the paper toilet and paper towels and any paper products
yes.
to be like, and you tell me, it was a little eerie having to go shopping and seeing just like nothing on the shelves.
No.
I thought it was like some War.
It did.
Right?
Yeah.
War of the Worlds, some Tom Cruise kind of film that you were just like, where there's water, there's nothing.
It's true.
Where there's meat, there's nothing. I told Tabitha, I was just like, hey, we got to go to the store now. Yeah. That one of the nights, I forget what weekend, I was just like, this is not going to be good. And then it happened, and I was like, whew.
It's eerie. We were talking about when Mr. Charles was considering trying to reopen under certain COVID regulations and all that. And we went to the park. And you looked at the park, and it didn't look like a park, a neighborhood park. You had weeds growing everywhere. You had the dirt was gone. It looked like it was unkept because there was no one to keep it up. And I had looked at my wife. I'm like, it looks like almost a bomb had dropped here. There's no life, and there truly wasn't. Right? There's no kids laughing. There's no one's playing on the playground. There's no ball games going on. There's no soccer going on. No one's playing basketball in the rec and all that stuff. And you just see it, and you drive by elementary schools. And there's weeds where there were never weeds before, right? And it's like, what happened in, 150 days that it looks like in certain parts that it was the end of the world, and then we had woke up and you're like, wow, this is what we're living in now. And it is definitely It'll be weird. This is going to be, we talk about the X generation, the Y generation, all these this is going to be a COVID generation.
What are we? Right? Because are we X or Y? Because I know we're to fit somewhere in the millennium. What year were you born in?
I think the X, 73.
Oh, fuck. You're looking good, bro. Man, you look so good. I almost put you at 39 with me. Well, 73. Fuck, I'm 81.
That's why people put me on podcasts, not TV. So
Nah, listen, man. We're gonna get you back in here. We're gonna be on TV soon. I've been working on some stuff. Bro, it's been so crazy. I think you can sympathize to this too. Having to just, I don't know. Did you originally, before everything happened, work at home, or you had an office that you went to?
No, we actually had a home office.
Right. So. Yeah. It's insane to have everybody. Again, I went to Guitar Center, bro. The place is like out of everything because everybody needed a mic for their work or they needed a webcam to communicate with people because we didn't even think about any of this stuff, right? Nobody was even using it. And so like me trying to catch up and trying to do all this stuff, it's just been, it's nuts to see how the new job space is. And now they're talking about maybe potentially only doing 4-day work weeks, scaling it back. Maybe what happens if everybody works from home. So it's like now you kind of got to do this new origami kind of deal and try to figure out what box to put yourself in so that you could be like, hey, if it happens again, I can do something from home and I can hand it down. I can have meetings and all this other stuff. So the constant change has been a little nutty, but
that's what's hopefully we're learning from this is to be prepared,
right?
So we're learning to do things from home. We're learning to do a lot of different stuff from that aspect. Whoever thought this was going to happen? On March 10th, this wasn't even a thought, really. We had heard about someone getting sick up in Washington, but unfortunately, people get sick all the time. It wasn't something that we thought was.
Well, there was a lot of those people, and I'll throw my wife under the bus. There was a lot of those people that kept saying it doesn't kill as much as the flu, right? But the data wasn't there yet for them to truly understand, like, hey, is this? And then, some people still say, that was another thing too that was really alarming. Some of these hospitals were, I'm not going to say fake COVID, but they were canceling people out based on that. So if it was cardiac arrest, but they had COVID, they were not putting it down as that so that, okay, when money time comes back around, you can give me more money. So we don't even know if there's a real surge, if there wasn't a surge, when the surge, it sucks that the traditional outlets that protect us, to give us information, either lied or they didn't get the real data themselves. Right. Because some of this stuff just seems egregious. Yes. When you have Anthony Fauci, coming out and saying that he didn't want to tell people that masks were helpful in the beginning was because he wanted more PPE for medical staff and wanted to protect them. But hey, bro, you can't pick that. You can't tell me, and I get it. Yeah, maybe a doctor is more valuable than a nurse, but you can't right now say, well, everybody on this side of the room is not going to die, and then everybody on this room, we're just going to roll the dice on, right? And then, I think the CDC didn't back up the mask thing, right? And then, Trump and his hydrochloroquine diet, right? It's like, were you really on it? Were you really not on it? Because if you were on it, people were getting sicker, bro. Right. So I don't know what, and then this whole movement about the ventilators. Every day I heard ventilator. Well, now it doesn't seem like ventilators really help, right? So it's like, damn, you guys did us this dirty? And that's why when I was watching V for Vendetta in 1984, it rang very true. The government was very misleading to the people, and they wanted to be controlling and divisive, and they wanted you to spend, and they wanted you to have a curfew and know where you're at and track you. And are we losing? With 9/11, we lost a lot with the Patriot Act, right? And now, how much more are we going to lose now, right? Well, we don't never know if this is going to come back. So now you got to lose A, B, and C just in case, right? We don't even know if they let it out on purpose because they had a different agenda. So it's a crazy time to be an American in America right now, just because it just seems like the people that are supposed to be protecting us don't seem like they want to.
Right. It's little things too. Like we could be at a dinner and my wife and I have a conversation with the kids. And it could just be something simple about getting tires for her truck the following week, whatever. And you come home and all of a sudden there's an email from Discount Tire. Like, where did that come from? Or you're talking about something you ate at dinner or a certain wine you like. And then the next day your Facebook's full of wine ads. You're like, so we know that there's been instances where we've lost what I believe our forefathers have fought for.
Listen, our data is not protected by any stretch of the imagination. Facebook, I don't know how. You said you were on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
By the way, what's your Twitter handle?
We're Dscrib at Blue Chip.
Okay. They were saying how Shucks, I lost my train of thought. What were we saying real quick?
About like the ads and Facebook.
Oh, sorry. So Facebook, again, just came out publicly stating that they were unaware that they gave more information to another third party. You know what I mean? This is like the second or third time. I don't know if you watch a lot of Netflix documentaries, but there was this big deal with Cambridge Analytica. Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with this. See that one. So there was like this, I don't even know if I want to call them hackers, but they were like this promotion company. But they did a lot of their promoting through Facebook ads and all of these other things. And they were like linked to the Russian Trump election rigging kind of deal, where they were controlling so many ads that they were basically making people making decisions for people because of what they were sending to you and how your feed started to come. Like you said, wine. Everything is wine. Right. Hey, babe, you want to go to Miami? All of a sudden, you're getting all these Miami,
travel sites. Right? Yes.
You know, and so I think also too, your phone, which is crazy, allows microphone access to each individual app. And I don't know if you shut it off, it fully goes away. But Facebook has a microphone app. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't talk in my Facebook, so I don't know why it has a microphone app. Right. Some of these other ones too. So it's just so crazy. It's like, what are we going to end up doing? It's going to be like, we're going to turn off all the technology and go back to flip phones and, just so that we can get some of our liberties back and try to fight back the government that seems to be pulling, like you said, some of the stuff. Because again, I was going through that too. Now I got to go over my Bill of Rights. Now I got to go over my amendments, right? Now I got to go over the Constitution because I got to know what is here.
Sure.
Right? Who checks that stuff? We don't check, right? But now with police kind of maybe mishandling arrest, right? Well, I'll say it that way. That way I don't get too many people pissed off. It's just such a fine needle to walk now where, you're just like, I mean, it just seems like such a hot mess here.
Sure.
I don't know. It's trending so bad. Yeah. And like I said, when you watch Twitter, and I'm not saying that some of these stories are being promoted more, but it seems like you get to see a lot more going on versus just watching your local news station or watching whatever CNN or MSNBC wants to put on. But yeah, it's a little intimidating. And a friend of mine, he told me, because I told him, I was like, man, I'm getting a little nervous. He was like, you shouldn't be nervous, bro. You should be concerned because this is not good.
Right. And that's what I tell people too. I mean, you have your certain news station that you watch and, back in the day, reporters, at least to my knowledge, they were there to report the facts. And then you were to make your own opinion on the evidence that was presented. A lot of the news stations, they're backed politically, right? So if you just consistently watch one news station over and over and over again, I don't see how you couldn't be molded, into that type of thought process. So as I tell people, like, watch one and then the next day watch a different one. Watch it completely. I mean, we know what Fox stands for. We know what CNN stands for. We know who they're backed by. But if you can't alternate back and forth, you're never really going to get the true story.
100%. I think you got to be somewhere in the middle, right? I can't even believe now that's the term now, a centrist, right? It's like, that's another thing I was thinking about. I'm like, why do they got to keep putting everybody in a box, right? You got to be white, you got to be black, you got to be Republican, you got to be Democrat, you got to be poor, you got to be rich, you got to have a car, no car. It's like, can we stop all these subcategories? Because it's just making everything more. And then even the political is like left, right, left, center, right.
Yes.
Up, down.
Yeah.
It seems like a video game cheat code. A, B, start. It's like, what? How many? I don't even know where I stand.
Right.
I don't even know who should I hang out with here.
Right.
But again, like you, I mean, the missus gets mad every time I turn on the TV for news, but I'm like, look, I'm decoding right now. I'm trying to take the message, try to see where they're at.
Right.
Because it's not 100. But they're saying something in there that's important.
And information, right? Information is important.
I need the stats.
But I don't want you to give me the information and then tell me how I'm supposed to react to
how I should
perceive it, react to it,
distribute it, whatever the case might be.
All right. So I think it's Dean Koontz, The Eyes of Darkness, right? Mm-hmm. Published 1981.
Damn, my birthday is dangerous.
So listen to this.
Go ahead.
In around 2020, this is a book in 1981.
Okay.
Around 2020, a severe pneumonia-like illness will spread throughout the globe, attacking the lungs and bronchial tubes and resisting all known treatments. Almost more baffling than the illness itself will be the fact that it will suddenly vanish as quickly as it arrived. It will vanish as quickly as it arrived, attack again 10 years later, and then disappear completely. They wrote this in 1981. And why did they choose 2020 and from Wuhan? And they call this stuff Wuhan 400 because it was developed at their rDNA labs outside of the city of Wuhan. and it was the 400th viable strand of man-made microorganisms created at the Wuhan 400. In 1981, they wrote this.
So, and this is a book of fiction,
Yeah.
right? And he just figured it out, put it out there.
Yeah.
I think I heard something about that because I remember now about the 10-year thing and it coming back.
Right.
So basically, we got a 10-year window to go crush,
And
and then if not,
then-
we're fucked.
Yeah.
We're fucked.
And
Because if
then
this
we're
happens
the ones
again,
that's gonna have a problem in 10
Yeah.
years.
well, I don't. Yeah, we'll be fucked. We'll be really screwed because then we'll be older and we won't be able to be as versatile to be able to switch lanes again.
Right.
Right.
But I believe also in 10 years from now, we will have something that will combat it. You
I
know?
hope so.
So-
But this is the thing too. This is what was alarming to me, right? Okay, first of all, and I don't mean to put him into the thing, but so Bill Gates has so much money, he gets to choose which one he wants to chase. Okay, we'll put that to the side. That doesn't even make any sense to me, right? That means you get to pick whatever. An independent person gets to say what disease is more important and dedicate his money to that, which means that's already smells something fishy with that.
Right.
Plus, leading up to this, all of our like development stuff, all the stuff that was like the one that was the most alarming was we don't make no PPE here. What?
Right.
What? So if you're gonna tell me that if we don't even make protective gear in this country, let alone the advancements in technologies of vaccines and in medicines, I don't even know how they're handling this because again, that whole funding is for profit, right? So they're only going to do what they find again of interest, right? And apparently, from some of the stuff, I mean, I don't know if it's true or not, but a lot of docs out there saying it that there was people yelling about this prior, and no one was listening, right? And then again, you know, Trump doesn't say that this is true, but he canceled out like a whole section of people that were dedicated to like handling stuff like this, right? And then says no.
And so this is why I'm anti-Trump.
Right.
And I have no problem saying it. And people that believe in Trump, like Nikki's grandma, fantastic. She has a complete opinion. I'm more of someone that wants to unite against a common cause, right?
Right.
So we're battling over ventilators. Because there's no leadership at the top, you now have states fighting with states. We never did that before. You didn't have New York and California throwing punches at each other, trying to outbid the other person behind closed doors to get ventilators to come because they're trying to protect their people. Because New Yorkers are more valuable than Californians.
See what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. You can't do that.
Why divide? And that's
you
why,
can't pick.
And I'm always
I'm with
been
you.
a big Obama fan.
I don't think I've ever. I don't think, and I want to get on that too. I don't think I've fully supported Trump. I still remember going to bed and thinking Hillary had it in the bag, and waking up the next fucking morning and reading the text and being like, "What?" And so. That's why when they show me these Biden numbers, I'm like, who gives a fuck? He was trailing Clinton by a lot.
Like when he nailed Michigan, I'm like, wait, what? He got Michigan?
Right. So we don't know.
Michigan hate him.
That guy's train is so big and so fast and so steamy. So now, okay, so we don't like Trump. And I've never said that I didn't like him. I think that there's enough evidence out now, right, that I think it's safe to say that he is not for uniting the nation.
Right.
Okay, boom. Now, Obama. Everybody is indifferent about this guy, right? Like he broke a barrier of being the first black president, right? How huge was that for the country? But so many people in office and in power were pissed off that some shit like that went down, that his whole time they were battling him with every move he tried to do.
100%.
Okay? There's people in Trump's camp that says that he is dedicated to ripping apart everything Obama put in this, right? So now people want to say it's a class thing, but now at their level, it's got to be a race thing, right? I mean, who knows though, right? And so things for me, Obama, okay. Give me top 5 things that you enjoyed about Obama that you believed he accomplished, did, or aided in during his term. Well, you don't have to give me 5. See if you can get some.
Like, number one.
Oh, it was Osama was the one?
Yeah.
Is that number 1?
Yeah. No, sorry. You found like the Obamacare, right? People loved it. Personally, for me, it hurt us.
Right.
Like it
I didn't think it was a good deal. For me, especially because I don't pay for medical. So I was charged for not having it.
Right.
I was like, wait a minute. I thought it was supposed to help me. Like, if I don't get it, just don't charge me.
Right.
Like, I can't afford it anyway. I can't afford $600 a month, even if that's the deal you're offering me.
Right.
Because I fit in this weird bracket that's like between above poor and below middle class.
Which is where you don't want to be.
Which is where I'm at. Yeah. And then you get taxed the most. You don't qualify for anything.
Right. So when we had Jackson with our medical that we had, I remember we paid $1,900 for everything for Jackson. Nikki was in the hospital for 2 days, right?
With Obamacare or some other
just
provider?
our regular Kaiser insurance.
Got you. And what does that cost a month? $2,000?
Well, here's the thing.
Right.
At that time, we were a family of 2, right? We were becoming a family of 3. So we were right around $750 a month for the 3 of us.
That's fire.
Right.
Yes.
That same insurance, by the way, today is $2,100.
Right. Because I was going to say that's cheap. $700 doesn't make sense. That's what I'm saying. So imagine that. If you're in that weird thing that you're about to be or in the how can I pay for the coverage, right? I mean, Tabitha is lucky because she was in the military. Instead of her taking it for life for herself, she said, no, just give it to them. I'll fend for myself.
Gotcha.
Right? But that's got to be a lot, right? To have to pay $2,500, let's say now, $3,000 for 2 kids and a missus and yourself.
And then we have that same insurance. Then Obamacare kicks in, which I think actually had some great aspects to it. It just wasn't. It was fought so hard. So we take the personal beat. Now, 16 months later, we have Caden. That program that we had is non-existent anymore. It got removed. We get pushed in one of the other categories at Kaiser. Caden cost us $9,700 to have him. I think I'm still making payments on that kid. He's 5. Wow. You know, I mean, so personally, like, it hurt us. So you would think that, oh God, Damian, he must hate Obama. I don't. Because the one thing I really felt that he did is that when something like this happened, he got in front of the dang camera and he figured out a way to bring us together.
But he was just like his mouth skills were just so good. But he was probably since Bill Clinton and prior to that would probably be Kennedy, one of the better spoken presidents of our time, right? Have seen. I mean, Kennedy, I had to watch tapes, but I remember Bill. Bill seemed super smooth on the mic.
Fantastic.
Right? Trump is terrible. Right? George W. was terrible.
Right.
Senior was better, but Senior was also the head of the CIA.
Sure.
So he already knew how to address
he knew what to do.
the people. Right? And he had been in politics for a long time.
But Obama was a great speech giver.
That's what I'm saying.
They had their, and I'm sure that it had, and again, and here's something that I do have to, because again, you got to watch both channels, right? You would have to put Obama in front of the social media and everything we have today that Trump does have to deal with. That's the only thing that I do give him a little bit of like.
You don't think it's excessive the fact that he's on Twitter?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I find it childish.
Right.
I don't think you should be on Twitter.
I mean, I think it's funny that.
Does the Congress like me? Check yes or no. I'm like.
But the thing is, you know what I wonder, because
Supreme Court.
I've worked in this arena a little bit now, and I don't think Trump has his own Twitter.
You think someone's running it for him?
Facts.
Then I would
because for me,
fire that person.
This is my thing. But think about this, first of all, right? So imagine if someone is showing it to you and you're already a ding dong, right? You're like, amazing, 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 go, right? Instead of looking at it
what
with more scrutiny and being like, no, that sounds terrible. Yeah. That's bad.
What if someone's actually editing it? They're like, and we're still getting this.
We definitely know that people write for these guys, right? So I think that there's no way that you're not busy, bro. I don't think in the midst of the corona you have time on your bed to be tweeting.
Right.
I think he might have access to it.
Sure.
But I think because this guy, he doesn't tweet that often. But again, I don't follow. I don't follow him.
Yeah.
I see people that retweet him. I kind of feel like it's silly. Like that's one of the things that I've been trying to understand and battle with Twitter. It's like, why do you follow someone you don't like?
Yeah.
So you can hear what they say and then talk shit about them. I was like, so for me, I'm like, fuck you, Trump. I don't want to see. If someone retweets your shit, I'll check it out.
Right.
And if you're trending, I'll look at it. But I'm not. You're not somebody that I'm interested in listening to or hearing to. And I feel, I don't know, a little indifferent about Obama, because for me, like I said, again, Obamacare really didn't help me. I think the big thing about Obamacare was it was with people with conditions.
Yes.
That was something that before the medical companies really didn't care. Like if you was a this or that, we wouldn't fuck with you. You're uninsured. So that was a huge, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like I said, again, for them, the thing that I found crazy, and I tweeted about it too, whistleblowers in this country get fucked.
Yeah.
And that was under the Obama administration, has been carried through the Trump administration, which is a little crazy because for me, even if you are a conspirator, right? You're trying to come clean. Yeah. Why should you be now ridiculed by the person? Like, it makes no sense to even tell the truth because that's what you're saying there, right? You're saying
you
that
lose your job, you lose your life, you lose your
integrity.
reputation.
Yeah. You got a guy that's living in fucking Russia, bro.
Yeah.
Because he can't, it's so hot here.
Yeah.
And then apparently Julian Assange is like getting his butt whipped or he's in some jail or some shit. Like, that's crazy.
Like, you don't want to be there where he's at.
So basically, don't challenge the system.
Yep.
Again, like I said, if you watch V for Vendetta, we'll come and get you. We'll take you away. And that's it.
Right.
And that shit kind of sucks where, like I said, under his
Speaking of which, while
administration.
we're talking about this.
Right, exactly. Yeah, whatever. They're already tracing me. I'll put my shit on the net. So I could care less. But these are the things that I was like, okay, then, right? Because I was looking at this to make a discussion. His drone strikes weren't 100% effective, not even 50% effective.
No.
They killed a lot of innocent people. Right now, okay, is that him overseeing something that wasn't great-ish? Like, we don't even know,
He still gave the go-ahead.
Military spending stood the same during that administration. I've also heard and have read through different parties that, at a certain point he got pressured, right? Because he's the only black guy on the block. So it's like either you play along or we'll make your life a living hell. Right. And I think after a while, you're probably going to give in, right? Like if you're in power, you're like, fuck it. Just let these dudes do whatever the fuck they want. I'm tired of breaking my head. And then maybe I can concentrate on something else. Because I thought something that they fought him on that would have been great was giving a pass, right? Like, okay, like right now, we just quarantined, right? But ICE went fucking crazy and started kicking motherfuckers out. All right, let's pretend we just shut it all down. If you shut it all down, right? Let's take a census, like a real census. If you're an illegal, okay? Listen, if you fucked up in jail, we'll look at your shit.
Right.
Okay, we'll give it a look. We're not going to say you're going to get a pass, but anybody out of that, if you're born here, you should be automatic. Right. And if you're born here and going to college, you should be automatic.
Yep.
Right? Because you're contributing, you're part of the system. First of all, you don't even know where the fuck you're from because English is your first language, right? It's like you're going to be some kid from fucking Zimbabwe, but if you were born here, you speak the best English on the planet.
But if you're doing those things, you're contributing, you're going to contribute to society.
And so that was something that they fought him on, right? Because they allowed it. I forget, it was like the Heaven Act or something like that. It happened for a little bit. They gave like college students that were immigrants or kids of immigrants a little thing, but they crushed that. And then they crushed Obamacare. Oh, yeah. The one that I thought was a silver lining, and then again, as a conspirator, I don't know if it's 100% true. Did he or did he not? Or did the SEAL team not kill Osama bin Laden? Right? Because I don't know. Because I was just watching some shit. Apparently, Hitler's still fucking alive. So if Hitler's fucking alive, there's definitely a possibility that we don't know. Did you show me? Did you get me DNA? Did you show? Like, I want to see all of this. I want to see his handprint. If he worked for the CIA, that means you have him on file.
Right.
Like you were saying when we were talking off air real quick ago, you want to see the stats, right? So, okay, if that's his whole thing, to me, it's kind of just as much as a shit show as what Trump's doing right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just the presidents. Right now, we go back. Look at what Junior did. Junior fucked it up too. Junior let some people take domestic flights and crash those shits into buildings.
Yeah.
What? What has been going on here, guys?
Yeah.
Like, if you told somebody the story for the last 3 presidents, you wouldn't believe it.
No. You would think someone wrote a book.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's insane. And this is the world we got to play in. So not to get, you got it? It's up top. Yeah. Not to get to the press, and we'll try to switch lanes again. Is Tom Brady going to win the Super Bowl again in Tampa Bay? By the way, I think that the Super Bowl is in Tampa.
It is.
He might be the first to do. Right, it's never been done, bro. You know I'm a junkie for this shit. It's never been done. So, the president who's housed the Super Bowl and played in the house has never won the Super Bowl.
That's crazy. And I don't know. Do you ever pay attention to like Pro Football Focus?
Sometimes. I mean, I read everybody or whatever.
So they're they're an outlet. They do a lot of different analytics.
They do a lot of
they're
shit.
more analytics.
Right.
Out of
for the fantasy junkies.
Yeah, pretty much, right? Mm-hmm. But they also look at outside of fantasy football too. They have the 5th ranked roster.
Tampa?
Before Tom Brady got there, the 5th ranked roster in the NFL.
Jesus.
So he came to basically weapons he's not had in the last couple of years, right?
That's crazy.
So now he has Mike Evans. He has a running game. He's got a tight end. The offense is there for him.
Right.
He's not going to the toughest division.
Right. Well, I mean, that's kind of argumentative, right? Because I'm happy at least we're going to see 2 games.
Right.
Because I don't know why the NFL has never done this. I feel like the NFL, ever since Tom Brady and Peyton Manning kind of that rivalry died, they never figured out how to start a new one with him. Right. So he should have been playing Rodgers all the time. He should have been playing Breeze all the time, but he never did. Right. It's funny how that worked out. He played a lot of crappy teams, which ended up fluffing up the record. And not saying that Tom is not dope, but I'm just saying the way the NFL drew it up, seems like they were helping a little bit, in my opinion. But they've also played some tough teams because they've always had to play the Ravens and they've always had to play the Steelers. And those are, to me, always.
But he's also been given 6 victories every year he starts off with. I mean,
Because of the division is so horrible.
And you talk about ineptitude.
Yes.
How could three teams not get better
But you
over
gotta look at it so
years?
crazy. It just Miami's a party town, so I mean the owner's just chilling.
Oh, yeah,
New
100%.
York is like ballers, so they're just chilling. And then you got poor Minnesota. I mean, poor Buffalo, right? Poor Buffalo, they up there.
They think they're part of Canada. They don't really know
they're
where they're
confused. They like hockey. They like football.
Right.
They just want to have a good time and drink. They could care less.
Yeah.
So imagine you got those three teams, right? And then one guy who's so serious he never goes to sleep. Right. All he does is eat shit, sleep, talk, football. That's it.
All
That's all we
football.
do every day. Not Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. This is where I'm at.
No doubt. That's what I'm saying.
I am crushing every day. Fuck everybody. I'm an asshole about my job, but I'm really good at it.
Yeah.
And I crush. And so,
but now you put him in Tampa, and he's actually in a great situation to take that
but
division.
again, like I was saying, I don't know. He's gonna have a problem with the Saints. That's what I'm saying. I wish he would have played Breeze more because it would have been awesome if they challenged that Brady Breeze thing. So you're gonna see that twice this year. Right. And then Teddy. I'm still on the fence of Teddy. Teddy was a Jet for like an hour, and then he dazzled, in my opinion, as a Saint last year.
Sure.
He played very well. So show me. I'm like, all right, man. If you could do it again and you could do that consistently, I mean, we might have a problem here, kids. But we'll see, right? But yeah, I mean, that division is going to be soft, and the East is soft too,
sure,
right? Because you're going to play the Giants, who are not good. You're going to play the Eagles, who are okay. You're going to play who else is over there? Dallas is figuring it out for whatever reason. Right. Dallas is always have the best players, but for some reason, because of Jerry Jones, that team is weird.
Right. And now you might have a quarterback that's pissed off.
But fuck that guy, by the way.
So
Dak,
it's like,
I love you, bro. I get it, but I don't know, man. It's such an argument to make because, like, I get it. It might be the last contract you might be able to negotiate, right? Let's say. So you got to go high.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if you're 20 plus, I think you won.
Right. That's why he won. That's why he was going for that 4-year deal because he knew he would be able to negotiate 2.
Right.
And that's what they were trying to do.
Right. They're like, we'll lock you up.
Dak's not a $40 million quarterback.
Correct. That's what I'm confused about. Right.
I mean, they're going to pay him $34.5 this year.
Right.
If they can reach an agreement by, I think it's July 15th, whatever.
Because he got the tag on him, which is egregious that he's still going to make like $25 million on a franchise tag, and you're insulted.
Yeah.
You're mad that I said, here's $25 million, bro. Let's talk about it maybe next year. Maybe the contract shit didn't work out.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know how nice one side is to the other because it's not like the players in the building either, right? It's the fucking agent trying to yell at the fucking owners to be like, yo, my guy. I mean, we've all seen Jerry Maguire, right? And you're trying to sell your guy, and he's just like, I don't know. And until he dazzles on the field, that's when you can make some arguments. And so that's the thing too, like you were saying, Dak hasn't really dazzled yet on the field. I think he plays well, but they had to give him guys. He has Zeke, he has Amari Cooper, right? They gave him back Jason Witten, right? Jason Witten, which is weird, went to fucking Oakland, which is a strange thing, but they gave him a good team. So it's not like you're making the guys around you better. And I'm saying that that's a plus or minus, but at this time, it seems like it's not.
No, the guys around him
are making him better.
That's
what I'm saying.
It gives him the opportunity to do certain things. Because if you're going to go up against Dallas, sitting from the outside watching the game, I'm going to make Dak beat us, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to cut off one side of the field. Yep. You're going to take away Zeke.
Right. That's what we need. Just get rid of Zeke and then see what you got, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
beat us.
I would do it.
That's what Bill would do. Take away one thing and then let me see what you got.
Right.
Your best shit, I'm going to take it away.
Right.
And then you got to come up with something else.
And if you look at honestly, even last year, Dak and Amari aren't always on the same page.
No, well, this is the thing. I don't think that it's Dak's fault because of that. I think it's Amari's fault because of that. I think that's why Amari got traded or let go or released or whatever happened. I don't remember the transaction from Oakland because at times I feel like he checks out.
Right.
When he's balling, he's focused. Sure. If he's not balling, and I don't think that he's a ball hog, but I think that for whatever reason, there's just parts. I mean, listen, it's a long fucking game.
Yeah.
It's a long game, right? So for you to think about what, is it 90 minutes?
Football?
Yeah.
60 minutes.
60 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 60 minutes, I mean, to put up 100 yards and a touchdown, that might seem like a lot, but that's not really a lot because there's so much more time that you could have one catch to the house and that would have been 100. Sure. Right? And then never touch the ball again. Right. And you're still playing. And you're like, go do it again, bro.
You figure that offense might put up 70 offensive plays a game.
Right.
Of which he might be included at. If he gets 15 targets, that's amazingly high. That's what, 25% or 30%, right? So he's probably getting targeted maybe 10 times a game. Is he checking out on the other 40? If they're not running to his side, he doesn't need to run block, right? So, and that's what I think he said back with Oakland. I don't think he's always mentally that strong and that tuned in to what needs to happen.
Right.
And I'm sure it happens with probably a lot of people. I mean,
and
I
then,
see the team all the
watch
time.
this, right? So I check out a lot. And then you add on to the fact you got fucking Zeke, who's definitely a nutcase.
Right.
Right? So that already you got all this thing. I mean, maybe that's why Dak wants more money. He's like, bro, you want me to
deal with all
corral
this? Yeah.
Yeah. You want me to corral all this stuff up? Right? I gotta pay.
And technically he does. That's
Right.
the one great thing about Dak is that he is mature.
Correct.
And he's not going to be an embarrassment to your franchise.
Right.
He's not going to be.
You, at least that's a great product. You can sell it and buy it and whatever. He's a stand-up dude.
Right.
And that's what you want. Especially, I mean, for Dallas, they've had so many, stand-up guys play
you got
quarterback
the star
for them.
in your helmet.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's the other thing is that you could have been able to sign the lower deal. You would have made a ton more in endorsements just in
He
the
already
area.
got a Campbell commercial.
So
he's already enjoying the fruits of his labor.
Right.
Before he even got the contract.
Right.
So, I mean, that's the thing. So we'll see. I think, so as a Diegan, real quick, you think the Colts are going to be competitive with Phillip? I mean, they still got a pretty decent offense.
Well, and I'll tell you, where he's going, he's got the best offensive line probably in the game.
Right.
So,
yes.
And what has he been doing with the Chargers? He's got to run for his life. And he can't unhitch that trailer.
No.
He's getting run over. He's getting beat up. That's where probably all his interceptions, I would say 60% of his interceptions are because he's feeling the pressure. He still makes bad decisions, no doubt about it. But if he didn't have to try to gallop out of that pocket once in a while and get chased down. So now he's going to Colts. Colts have two great running backs. They play indoors.
That's what I was saying. The indoors is going to help out immensely, right?
That's going to be huge because let's face it, his arm strength,
it's not great.
Like Drew Brees.
Yeah.
We don't see him throw that deep often anymore. They're getting older. Things are going to change. But playing indoors with the air conditioning on, with that line, and they have
they got some guys.
Defense. Yeah,
I like T.Y. Hilton a lot.
100. I think they could make some noise this year. And again, like you said,
and the thing is, the division is
so tough. Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I mean, this has been a flop back to where the NFC is the tougher division again. It's taken some time to get us back there, but you do obviously you have Baltimore, and you have the Chiefs. So you take those two, but it's a pretty big drop off from there.
Right. Yeah.
And
now that the Pats reshifted everything because it was New England up there as long as Tom was under center. Now, what you put Tampa in the mix? That's such a random thing to say, right?
Right. That's
and it's so strange. Sad that Dean Spanos, who I do not like for being not sensitive enough to understand that some deals you fucking got to take it on the chin a little bit, letting Tom go because he was going to be a Charger, bro.
Yep.
That would have been so dope. Tom Brady, a Charger. I would have been all right. I wouldn't have had to stress out about the season. He would have played a couple years here. And then in LA.
But think about that too. Another mistake by that administration.
Correct.
They are well behind with what they need to do with PSLs. They promised.
So please tell me, PSLs, what is this?
That's a personal C license.
Okay.
So they had guaranteed that they were going to bring in a certain amount of money. So let's say, I believe it was let's say they were bringing in $500 million.
Okay.
By a certain point in time to be basically the Clippers to the Lakers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to rent a room out of that big mansion. They were at 120 million in PSLs when they were supposed to be at 500. So they're coming nowhere close.
Wow.
We have friends that live up in LA because that's where I grew up in, is Los Angeles.
Correct.
You go from Dodgers, Angels, Lakers, Clippers.
Correct.
USC, UCLA football.
Got you.
Rams football.
Okay.
Kings.
Okay.
The Ducks, probably because they cover them a little bit in Orange County. Guess what's on the back page? Chargers.
Wow.
Because when I grew up in LA, that's where I went to elementary school, junior high, high school, college. I mean, that's where I lived, right? There was no connection to the Chargers. And you're telling me they played there 1 year in 65 and that meant something? We know the Rams were at the Coliseum. We know the Raiders were at the Coliseum. We never even knew the Chargers were part of LA.
Right. I think they played 1 year and it's probably either 62 or 63.
Yeah. It was right.
Nobody remembers.
Yes. Because they were not part of our growing up.
Right.
And now you're going to put it back in LA because that's where their roots are at. No, that's not true. And they weren't even part of the NFL back then. There was the AFL or whatever it was.
I don't even know if that had to be spin. The roots thing, because it was just about being able to provide them a house because they're freaking homeless. Right. Because that guy, which is kind of a little unfair when you think about it, right? Stan Kroenke, when you have so much money that you don't need no more money, meaning I can buy and put together and build and finish a $4 billion stadium, no problemo,
right,
and not ask a nickel from nobody else. And I'm not hurting that I just dropped $4 billion to do this.
Right.
Dean Spanos cannot do that.
No.
And that, I think, was a little bit of a tricky thing. I also think that the way the San Diego legislation ran, the voting was ridiculous.
Right.
Because they should have included more areas so that way the vote could have been a little higher, as well as, I don't know why people were so pissed off that they had to pay, right? There's not a lot of Stan Kroenkes. Like, I don't understand, again, you know, and this is the thing. You always hear people like moan and groan about having to pay for Petco, but Petco's awesome. It's beautiful. Right. We've had a couple of World Classics there already.
All-Star Game.
We've had All-Star Game there already. I mean, it's obviously paid itself, okay? Right. They have concerts there. They have bands there. I've seen a freaking truck flip in that building, okay? These guys that thing is working.
And it's cleaned up the area around it.
Correct, okay? So now we just did all of this. Why would you not greenlight the other stadium, 100%. Right? Because you said, oh, the tax dollars. So the way it looked, right, they were going to get lucky the way this whole thing was going to go down, because they were going to build a stadium for basically less than $1 billion. Right. Less than $1 billion, which is insane to even think that, because the Santa Clara, I think, was like 2 something. Yep. Minnesota was 2 something. New York, I think it was like 3. Now these guys, I don't even know what Vegas,
yeah,
probably like in the 4s, right? Yeah. And then now with LA, like
right.
those, I mean, imagine that 2 monstrosity buildings, right. LA and Vegas, right? And so,
and you would have got out of the deal that you were already paying. You paid all this money for Qualcomm.
Everybody got mad. Everybody got mad about it being split, right, with a higher tourist tax.
Right.
And I'm like, bro, Vegas has a high tourist tax. Motherfuckers still going there. Like, what do you care?
And it wasn't going to be something that you looked at a room and it wasn't going to go from $109 a night to $190 a night. It was a percentage. And Arizona's stadium is funded from car rental.
Wow. Still?
So, yeah. I mean, that's how they passed the initiative. So I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to Phoenix for a business trip, right? I'm renting a car. Every time I rent a car, I'm helping pay for the stadium.
That's fire.
Yeah, that pisses me off because I'm a Niner fan. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. I'm like, I'd rather take Uber. I'm not helping you with your stadium. So now you're talking about all the conventions that we host, Comic-Con, all those great things coming to San Diego. And you're coming to San Diego, staying in a room, and part of your fee for staying in that room is going to help build a stadium. So really, we're not taking too much out of my life. I'm not losing, I'm not going from Cocoa Pebbles for my kids down to the bottom shelf. It's not really affecting us 100% because we're really getting a lot out of what's coming from the out-of-towners, right? What better way is there to fund a stadium than let someone else pay for it for you, right? Which is what they're learning to do.
That's what I thought. I was like, damn, you guys are tools.
And now
Why wouldn't you let somebody else pay for it?
And this was so
and it was
egregious.
It was only 150 out of the 300. If anything, I would have argued, I would have said, fuck you, make it all of it.
Well,
right? And make the whole 300, let the tourists...
Right.
You come to my town, guy. I already pay fucking high taxes here to live here, right? So you got to pay a little bit more to fucking chill in my town.
Right, and do it.
No offense.
And if it was so terrible and it was such a goddamn disgusting idea to think about doing that, right? Then why did they turn around and say, you know what we should do for the convention expansion? We should put a tax on hotel rooms. So if it wasn't good enough for the stadium, but all of a sudden it was good enough for the convention expansion, and let's face it now, in California,
for whatever reason, man, SD is in love with Comic-Con.
Right.
That's all they care about. That's all they care about. And you know what? No offense to them. I mean, it's their number one cash cow. Why wouldn't you be all in? Right? I mean, though, I guess diversifying doesn't make sense for San Diego. It's like, okay, look, if we just keep pumping money into this thing, it'll just keep growing and getting bigger. I mean, how many times you've been here for a minute? How many times has that thing extended and expanded, right?
But we'll lose it.
Right.
And we'll lose it because we've not done anything to create a venue for them.
Correct.
I mean, right now, do you want to come hang out in the convention center? I don't know if you've been down there
Of course. I know everything.
Do you want to go to the convention center right now? Or would you like to go to the stadium in Vegas right now, the brand new stadium, if you were given a choice? Like, you're going to go to a newer venue because there's newer facilities, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to go sit in you want to go to the down by the what's it?
Well, that's the thing too. San Diego hasn't really built a new facility since Petco Park, and it seems like they're like, "Fuck it, we just got Petco. You guys can't get no more.
Right?
This is it. And the only thing we want to do is going to fix this. We're just going to keep on extending this train little thing we have here because that's what they did. They built a couple of hotels around it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't even think. I mean, outside of Comic-Con, I mean, they got to be selling hella fucking conventions to pay for all of that real estate, right? At all times.
Right. And now there's no conventions in San Diego.
Right.
So, I mean, this is just a bad
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I get nervous about how
Right.
the San Diego economics with the people that were in charge, what they
Right.
fucking decided not to or to diversify, and they're fucking it up. And now that we're going in the toilet, it's like you fucking idiots should have thought of a different way. There was other opportunities. Like the one that gets me mad all the time because I need to be somewhere one time. It's two things. One, be around it. If we would have had that stadium, buddy, we would have had the Olympics here. Okay. I want to see that. I want to be able to be around that kind of atmosphere environment. The other one would be running the Bulls in Spain. But those two things, to just be in that breeze, right? Like, wow, okay, man, the greatest of the greats of America and China and Russia, we're all battling for who's the best. I mean, that's got to be pretty awesome to be around there, right? And San Diego missed that opportunity to have that culture here and that kind of movement for a couple of days.
And then you wouldn't even expand on that, right? They were talking about, had they built the stadium here, they would have had a Super Bowl once every 5 years. That's a $250 to $400 million influx in 2 weeks. And that's jobs created.
Right.
That's money in people's houses. On top of that, you said the Olympics. They would have hosted the Final Four.
Right.
Because they were talking about being able to put on a temporary roof. Right. So they were talking about the Final Four. What about concerts?
Everything.
Now you're talking about Garth Brooks filling a 75,000
Right.
seat stadium.
Come on.
Instead of 14,000 at Vias Arena. Nothing against Vias. That's awesome. But it's a basketball arena. You can only do so much.
I tell you this one. Thank God for that place. Because every other place here is trash.
Right.
If it wasn't for Viejas and for Petco, Sports Arena is terrible.
It's
Sleep Hamper or whatever they named it now is terrible.
Yeah.
What other
it's so
venues?
terrible they change names every year.
Right. Someone else is just like, I don't want to
I
deal
don't
with
want
this.
I don't want to be affiliated.
Chargers, or not Chargers. What is it called? The hold on, let me see if I can get it. I had it and I lost it. Let me see if I can get it one more time. Fuck, what's the name of the Charger Stadium?
Qualcomm
Right.
or
Qualcomm, right? So Qualcomm fucked that up too, right? Because Qualcomm got money. They should have pressed the Chargers. They should have been, listen, motherfucker,
The funny thing is not
we'll
Qualcomm.
build this. You stay here. Fuck these politic guys. We got you.
And the bad
and we'll
thing-
blow up Qualcomm more, right? Because that's what are you doing?
it's not even called Qualcomm anymore.
No.
So people are naming a stadium that they don't even associate with the stadium.
Right.
My favorite part, you know what I keep telling the boys? I can't wait till they blow it up. I'm gonna take them down there so they can see an implosion. Because that'll be cool for them, right?
Did you see the new layout for the SD shit? If they get
Yes.
approved, it looks beautiful.
Looks awesome.
I'm like, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
We need that. Could you give us that? Because come on, if the kids we got, like you said earlier on the show, 3 guys that are from SD, we need some better facilities.
100%.
I think even as a New Yorker, bro, and I've seen some shows here, it's always trash, man.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're talking about and whatever. I'm not trying to like think, but I've seen a little bit better venues, and it's just a shame. It's just like I said, thank God they got Viejas, because Viejas is nice, even though it's kind of weird and it's a basketball thing. It works. You can do concerts there.
And you watch a concert down at Sports Arena, you know the acoustics are terrible.
Oh, that
if
whole
you,
is
if
gross
you've
in
been
there,
to
bro.
a
I hate that
concert at
place.
Petco, and this is what's bad about Petco, because that's probably our best facility, right?
Right. That's
But
number one.
Then it's a baseball stadium, so then you get the acoustics that are really
Right.
terrible if
Yeah.
you're down the right field line. So now you don't want to ever buy a ticket down that side. You got to go to left field,
But
or
see,
you got to
this is
sit
the thing
higher.
for
So
me
it's
is I don't understand why they're not even like in their brain. Okay, someone sit in the fucking back. Look, I'm doing podcast shit, right? With all this stuff. I used to have more gear. I'm downsizing, okay? Just so you can see it. Because you get better and you get smarter. How the fuck you didn't get better and smarter?
Right.
Okay? How didn't you figure out someone sits in the back? It's like, okay, this whole side is deaf.
Right.
We don't sell seats here. Block this off. Figure out how to bounce this sound back. We can collapsible stuff. Now we sell this side more because the sound comes. But you just keep, and that's what I'm saying.
rotate the stage.
Right. The ingenuity and some of these tactics, like I said, this is new for me, bro. I'm stepping it up because you have to get smarter. Sometimes I watch other people in business and not pivot when they should be, because you're supposed to always go up in some way. Maybe not financially, but you got to change a little bit with the game. And again, it's sad that they don't know how to maximize a concert in Petco.
Right.
It looks gorgeous.
It's awesome.
It looks gorgeous, but the sound is just not.
Their best concert they put on is the one that's outside on the park in the park.
Right.
I mean, it's fantastic because there's nothing they have to compete with. The sound doesn't have to compete with anything.
Right.
But, you know, it's sad because my wife has always wanted to move back to Texas.
Okay.
Right. So I've been able to, you know, dodge and weave and block her punches and stuff like that.
So before LA, San Diego, you
just meet, yes.
Texas, San Diego, her. Boom. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I keep telling her, I'm like, no, and she's from El Paso.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been there a couple times in a lovely city, I guess. It produced my beautiful wife. I don't want to live there.
Oh, El Paso, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was
thinking Texas. I'm like, man, we could work with Dallas. Maybe we could work with like a major city.
Yeah, so
I'm like, El Paso, that sounds like, we're turning into ranchers.
And it kind of is, but that's okay because I'm more of a city person, right?
Sure.
She's more of a country girl. So my whole thought.
But you made it this long.
I have. And I've always told her, I'm like, I don't want to live somewhere where there's not a professional team because I want the boys to see sports.
I got you.
We have the Chargers. We have all these. And all of a sudden, Chargers are gone. We don't have a basketball team.
Wow.
We have the Goals.
Which, God bless them, but they don't count.
So now we're down to the Padres, which for the last couple of years have been basically a glorified AAA team.
Right.
Until as where we're so I'm like, I'm writing out arguments now. I'm like, if the Padres can't do something, then I don't know what else to do because we are now becoming basically.
I'll tell you this: if I'm trying to push you off the ledge of the Texas thing, first of all, I love Texas, man. They love business people, and real estate is cheap as fuck there.
Yeah, it is.
Like as a business, they get it, man. In California is absurd and ridiculous. When a shady neighborhood can sell homes for $1 million, I'm getting nervous, man.
Yeah.
If I can go get a mansion for $350 somewhere in Texas, I mean, that's unbelievable. I'm talking about you getting 4 or 5 bedrooms, a couple bathrooms.
Acreage.
Acreage. Some space.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to get a pool because it's so fucking hot.
Yeah.
Right? It's like AZ too, like some of these other places. But yeah, I like Texas. Texas has always been on my radar.
And we've talked about Texas before.
It's just too fucking hot, apparently, people tell me. Yeah. And
I can deal with the heat. Like Phoenix, you deal with the heat. When we went to go visit, we would do a little road trip through Dallas. We took the boys to the San Antonio. We did like just different things. The Riverwalk. We went through Dallas. We went through Houston. We did everything. And it felt like one gut punch after another just because of the humidity. I mean, when we got to Houston, I had to go outside and Jackson came probably maybe 4 and 3 at the time, years old. So I had to go find a little store to go get some milk. And I walked outside and I felt like someone had hit me in the gut. And by the time I got back from just walking around the corner, a little liquor store, grab some milk, come right back, I was like, I got to take another shower. Like it was tough. And then we went to San Antonio to see all the different things. And it was so much fun. And no doubt about it, I loved it. But I think it would take a lot of a time to like acclimate to that humidity. And it's just you sit right down there on that.
By
Gulf,
the way,
there's
there's no beaches, bro.
No,
right? No beach, right?
Just the Gulf.
But even that's still a drive to get down there. What I'm saying, like you're not gonna go like here SD 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You're next to water, right? And over there's maybe an hour, right? And that's how spoiled we are here. Because I mean, how
and we don't take advantage of that much.
I was just gonna say, how often you go to the beach, right? Not often. Yeah, not often enough. Unreal, bro. Unreal. So dang, losing it out to the kids listen, like I said, maybe you could cut a deal for San Antonio or something like that, where you could get a little bit of the city life. It could be a little rural too for the misses, get that country. Because I tell you this, a place that I thought of that I wanted to check out until I realized that the alien spacecrafts that are gonna send us off this planet are stationed there is Denver, Colorado.
Yes.
Right. So Colorado's awesome.
I think so too. And we visited a couple times.
And that would be a place that I'd be like, okay, cool. Look, if I don't get a team, which they do have teams, a bunch, that, hey, my kid's going to go outside. He's going to see nature. Right. We could do things as father, son, father, daughter, you can, whatever, build a fire, camp. Like that thing has a lot. Canoeing, rafting.
And the city's very fun.
That too. Fun. Now you got it depends on how you go it, right? I mean.
And you got the Nuggets, you got the Rockies, you got the Broncos, you have the Avalanche. I mean,
you got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
and I think the Avalanche might have won a freaking ring. I'm not sure.
Right. Yeah.
So you got a championship team, and the Broncos do business. Right. I mean, they've been doing it for a while. Yeah. So that's always a place that I've looked at, but I didn't never check like rents, but also to
I got to deal with the snow.
I always say snow belongs in a globe, but their snow up there is different than our snow at sea level. Okay, because it's the altitude thing is so different, man. Yeah, it's a totally different deal. You've been up there, right? Yeah. When it snows, it's not like it snows normally. Right. Like here, it's like, I don't know. It's because I guess the air is tighter or drier.
It's more the desert climate and stuff.
Yeah. It doesn't seem as cold up there. That's why people go lighter when they go skiing, right? Yeah. They don't have to wear all that clothes. Yeah. It's snowing. It looks cold, but it's like 50.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? That's strange. Yeah. That's not what we're used to. We're used to it being 30 and 20 because snow has to freeze, but because they're higher up, they're already catching it, Oh my God.
God bless them, man. I don't want to wake up and shovel a driveway.
So you never, right? You've always been an LA kid. I mean, a
Southern
Cali
California.
kid.
Yep.
Your whole
Southern
life.
Yeah. Born in San Francisco. My dad was in the military.
And that's what became a Niner fan.
Not really, because we moved when I was a year old to LA.
Okay.
My mom and dad split up at that time.
Uh-huh.
Not a bad thing. Just
Sure.
realized they're better friends than husband
Uh-huh.
and wife. And I've never heard a bad thing about my dad from my mom. Never heard a bad thing about my mom from my dad.
Nice.
They're just fantastic people that just didn't want to be married anymore. So we moved in LA in Eagle Rock, Highland Park area, and eventually moved up farther towards Pasadena area, and grew up there and went to PCC, played baseball there, went to Cal State Northridge, and then got my teacher credential, came out, started teaching for a little bit. And then my sister played softball at San Diego State, and I would come down every weekend to watch her games, and eventually just realized that I was teaching at the same high school I graduated from. And it was just, I'm like, the world's got to be bigger, man.
Wow.
It's got to be bigger than this.
And how old was you at that time? Like 26, 27?
23. Yeah.
Damn, so you went quick.
Yeah.
Got graduated and went back into teaching right away.
Yeah. And well,
turned it around.
And I had coached that time, so that was.
Oh, you coaching baseball, basketball,
high school
football?
basketball. So, and it came down to taking a job at a junior college, Pierce Junior College, or going back to high school, and that came with a full-time teaching job. And $34,000 a year, you're rich, man, at 23 years old, right? Compared to $5,000.
And you're secured,
right?
Because it's like jobs here. We're not. No one's leaving.
Yeah. So I ended up doing that, and then fell in love with San Diego, and so moved down here and just was close enough to get back home for mom's if she needed anything.
Where did mom live at the time? Still
up in the La Crescenta, Pasadena
Gotcha.
area. But I was like, God, I love it down here, and fell in love with it. And
What did you like so much about it?
honestly, I love the fact that we were that close to the beach.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. It has to be.
And the people, and it's coming from someone from LA,
Sure.
is the people in San Diego, I felt were so much kinder than the people in LA.
Well,
And
LA has a lot of pressure too.
And people can be mad at me for saying that, but you can't be mad at me because I lived it.
Right.
You know, it's like when I go to New York, right?
I was just gonna
I was
say,
like,
it's
New
the
York,
same thing.
I thought I walked fast,
Right.
right?
They don't
In
play.
LA, man, I mean,
Right.
you can't keep up.
No, right.
And
Tabitha
you're on
had to
top.
tell my brother to slow down.
Woo.
She said, "I know she said I walk fast, but you walk too fast. Can you slow
No
down for
kidding,
me a
man.
little bit?"
I mean, I get why they call it the New York Minute.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're
flying.
focused.
Right. And then also, that's when, traffic in LA is ridiculous. I didn't want to spend half my life in traffic. 25%.
I tried it. You know the only thing that I felt
sleep.
that dope about it? So look at me, right? Like I did this really weird thing. So I came in a strange way. First of all, I one of my favorite movies with my mom growing up was Top Gun. I didn't know until older that Top Gun was San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay. So I come out here, I have no clue where I'm at, right? As I get through this, obviously the beach thing is amazing. But then as I go further up, I'm like, oh, wait, this gets better, right? So Orange County, I always felt was like a long enough distance for me to go that it wasn't killer, right? Because once you get to LA, you're committed.
Yep.
You're not the traffic, you're fucked. You can't just come
You're
around
there.
or you're in it, buddy, right? At least Orange County, if you know what you're doing, you can kind of dip around and get through spots. And so when I was up there, I worked in a little bit in LA and worked up a little bit in Orange County, and I loved, even if it was a commute. But I feel you, having to do that, like I knew if I wasn't, and this was a person that I didn't even drive in New York City. Okay. I didn't even own a car. I didn't even have a license until I was 30. I come out here and I'm like killing it on the 5 because if I don't get on the highway before 6:30,
Right.
I'm done. I'm done.
Yep.
I'm blowing. I'm going 100. I'm risking a ticket because I know that if I don't hit where I need to hit, there's going to be grid lot in San Diego and I'm jumping this and that, which is different in New York. You just get on a train.
Right.
Right. So the only, if there was something, is waiting to get onto the train, and that's rush hour a little bit in the back end, but for the most part, you're there. And just really, really enjoying the driving part because there's a lot to see, especially on the 5, right? If you're driving, it's once you start to get into the suburbs and stuff like that of LA. But as long as you stay, coastal.
And that was good for us because we were more towards, like, when you get to the Pasadena area, the Glendale area, La Crescenta area, like at least you're, 15 miles, 20 miles from LA. So you're out of LA. But everything you have to do is to get down there. I mean,
it's above it, right? Because I remember I went, I got lucky enough to get on the field of the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
And and then I was super stoked because I was like, man, Pasadena looks really nice.
So I tell
I don't
people,
even know. I'm just a Bronx kid, right? I don't even know if it did or didn't, but it looks super clean.
So
There was
I
like a
tell
lot of
people,
gated areas.
I had the best junior college baseball experience in my life. More than other people because I played at Jackie Robinson Field. Nice. That's right across the street from the Rose Bowl. So if the field is here in front of us, the Rose Bowl, I mean, you're looking to the left.
Still
is
to
right
this
there.
day, or
right there.
Okay.
And then beyond left field is where they built the floats. So that's our background when we're playing, junior college baseball. And they always say there's nothing longer in life than a 9-inning junior college baseball game, and that's totally true.
What is it, like an hour and 20 minutes more?
4.5 hours. So you just what you do. But it was pretty cool to be able to see them build floats in left field as you're just sitting there watching the game or waiting to play or whatever you're doing, and then look to the left and then see the Rose Bowl. You're like, man, this is the best. And then you have the San Gabriel Mountains right there.
So from your house, right, how long to that spot? 15 minutes?
Oh, 6 minutes probably.
Wow. So that's where you grew up.
Yeah.
And that's not bad, bro.
Yeah. No,
It's not bad, buddy. I grew up I didn't watch floats. So the closest to floats we had was on Thanksgiving, and I never went down there.
And UCLA plays there,
right? I know.
So that was my college football experience.
So you was a UCLA guy.
You'd be able to go see them and do those things. And
I grew up as a USC guy, but that was only because I fell in love with Reggie Bush.
Nice.
Yeah, and I didn't even know that he was from San Diego, right?
He looks that.
Yeah, right. And then ended up living so close to that environment. It's just been a really, really trippy thing. I remember watching him in some game, and they had like a close up, and he used to wear the 169, I didn't even know what that was. Yeah. I was like, why this guy's got numbers? And then I figured I was like, I guess that's an area code.
Like, what
thing.
Bible code is that?
Is that his birthday?
I mean, he was born on June 19th.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Reg, love him to death, but I thought he was gonna be like AP, I would say. Not so much in size, or more like a LaDainian Thomason, I would say. Like put up monster numbers. And he didn't put up not monster numbers.
I felt the problem with Reggie at that time. Again, just me being me. It never seemed like he learned how to avoid a hit. I thought he could have used the sidelines better. I thought he could have got down better. And he didn't have the body to barrel through people, right?
No.
But when he was not avoiding the contact, I think it just started like a video game, right? You go from the green square, and then you start to get your health goes down to yellow a little bit. And you start getting red. I think his career got to yellow way quicker than it should have.
I'm surprised that he didn't get more. Like, I would have just been strictly a third down back, which they try to do. But it seemed like Sean had a better understanding of that. Once he left,
right,
he still tried to. I would have turned into wide receiver. Right, because he probably would have took less yellow to get to red. Because the contact is not the same when you're having to run up the gut 30 times a game. You know, and being the main running back, which I don't even think that Reggie ever got to. Maybe 30 touches, but never 30 carries.
But then you're dealing with an athlete that did amazingly well at high school, amazingly well. I mean, at college. I mean, come on,
he was phenomenal, bro.
And then you get him to the pros, and you're like, you know what to do? Why don't you turn you into a third down back? And for a running back in the NFL,
you need
that is a slap in the face. Yes. You're like, I want to be a 3 down back, not a third down back. Yes. So you're not going to tell me what I'm going to do
in the third quarter. Motherfuckers are tired. They're not going to tackle you again, and then you do that move that you've been saving all day, and then now you start to pick up the moment. I've seen it. You can't get. It's the same thing with quarterbacks. And there's something about reps that you need. No, I don't even think it's the ego. I think like the mental and physical that you start to see and start to move
in the game.
Yeah, you start to now get into that zone where now you're seeing more because you're ready, because they're running the same shit basically over and over and over again, potentially, right? Like some of these teams, I mean, their playbook is probably 20 plays, maybe. If you're playing the same team for the last 20 years, you know what this, like, when I'm sure when the Ravens play the Steelers, they have an idea what's going to happen, right? Sure too, like it's understood, you know what I mean? Same thing why the Patriots and the Jets could play each other good. 100%. It could be a terrible team, Jets suck, but because they know each other, it'll be a challenge.
And when the Patriots go down to Miami, it's going to be a tough game.
Right.
But like you said, probably because Miami knows them. Probably because the Patriots are like, welcome to Miami.
Yeah, I know. That's another thing. I love how they always talk about it being sun fatigue and not party fatigue.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, bro, you just came in like Miami, it's popping bottles and models. What you doing? You definitely party. And the game's on Sunday. You landed on Thursday. Practice was last on Friday. What you doing Friday night?
Did you hear they're talking about having the Super Bowl? Because, when you build a new stadium in NFL, you get guaranteed a Super Bowl within 3 years.
That's what, okay. And then before you go, that's why I was even more mad at the Chargers. You guaranteed it. How could that was a great clause, right? So continue.
Right. So
every
they're talking about Vegas, and they're like, so Vegas is getting the Super Bowl?
Wow.
And they're like, well, if you're going to play Super Bowl in Vegas, you better play the damn game the day that players arrive. Because you give them 2 weeks in Vegas, that might be the worst Super Bowl ever. Because You will get the Vegas flu.
I don't know how much you like really pay attention to the fucking fine needle combing. FanDuel or DraftKings already had insider trading, okay? There's no way that not only are you going to be able to have to manage these guys' nightlife, that someone's not going to cheat on the game.
Oh, yeah?
I don't even know how they're going to handle all of the stuff that's going to happen with putting 53 dudes living in Vegas.
And remember, that's why Vegas never could have
And
a
if
professional
I'm not
sports
mistaken,
team.
doesn't Floyd Mayweather live in Vegas?
Mm-hmm.
And doesn't Conor McGregor live in Vegas? Mm-hmm. So now you're just going to put a star after star. It's going to be like fucking the Rat Pack back in the motherfucking 40s, and all these Jews just getting lit and fucked up. The only difference is that back in the 40s and 50s, they didn't play at the level they play now. Right? It's so much more has happened. Guys have gotten faster, evolution and all this other things. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I think it's going to be a beautiful stadium. I don't know if Derek Carr is the final answer. I really enjoy the tight end. I think Josh Jacobs is a beast. But in case everything that they're going to have to worry about, and I don't know if this is true. Apparently, you can't bet on Vegas teams in Vegas. Is that a fact?
Used to be.
Fuck.
There you go.
So that's not good.
Used to be. So, for instance, UNLV. Mm-hmm. I'm a big UNLV fan. I love him back.
So we have a waiter that played for UNLV.
Oh, really?
He was an offensive lineman there.
Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully if they ever come back, you get a chance to. I want to get him on the show now because we talked about it.
Yeah.
It'd be good. I didn't know you was a UNLV fan. I've never heard of these dudes. But anyways, continue.
So when we would go, actually, we played a high school basketball tournament when I was in high school in Vegas. We went to go see the Run Rebels that day. That was Larry Johnson, Stacey Augman, Greg Anthony, George Ackles, Anderson Hunt. I mean, just that was the five, right? 3 first rounders. Anderson Hunt went in the second round. George Ackles was an undrafted free agent. So you had 5 guys
from one team.
And they were just phenomenal. But at that time, you could not bet on a team that played in Vegas. That's why there would be never a professional team in Vegas.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Because it would eliminate them.
So that's why I'm finding it weird that you're saying that they closed that loophole and put a team there.
Now you can bet on the Golden Knights.
Wow.
You can bet. Guess what? You know they're talking about having betting booths and
inside within the facility,
the stadium. So now they've flipped. Remember, FanDuel and NFL got into it big time. I mean, there were lawsuits, blah blah blah. Just Cleveland Browns' new partner, FanDuel. So they're accepting it. They know it's part of what's going to happen. Outside of if you're on FanDuel, you can only bet on sports on FanDuel if you're in New Jersey. You can bet on fantasy sports, like you and I can have a fantasy pool, but you can actually, if you live in New Jersey, you can bet on sports through the FanDuel app. Wow. You don't think that's coming to the other states like quickly because they know
listen, this sounds crazy. I've always been in favor of legalize all drugs and we tax it, prostitution and fucking gambling.
Why not?
And tax all 3 and then we're rich forever. And look, degenerates are going to be degenerates no matter what, bro.
Yeah.
Just let them fucking do it and then we'll take some money from you. And like how much people are spending on gambling, dude, if they made that, FanDuel killed. Right? Imagine they're excited about what we did. Imagine what gambling taxes would create.
I mean, just a little $2 game. You and I bet at $2, it's $4, right? The winner gets $3.60. Mm-hmm. Where the 40 cents go to?
Right.
Okay, and that's on a $2 game. So you start looking at the contests you can have.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I was trying to build something like that, and then it was just like having to constantly think of new games that you had to create, right? And then having to deal with all of that shit. I was like, damn, I don't got a legal team.
Oh, and they got creative too. They started putting fantasy sports out there for the video games, for NBA tournaments and all the virtual games, right? But you sure could still do things, on that stuff. Now you can do UFC and
got everything. They got golf. They got NASCAR.
Right. I mean, and they were doing the virtual NASCAR races. Who you were gonna, bet on those. So it's just you're not going to be able to avoid it. So like you said, accept it, regulate it, and make the money on it. Just like in Denver, Colorado, or the entire state of Colorado. If you're going to accept that marijuana has become a legal drug, then why don't you regulate it, keep people safe?
That's it.
And then put some of that money into schools. And
that's what Denver's been crushing on, bro.
Why not do it, right? I mean,
it looks like our San Diego roads have been looking better.
Yes. I wonder why.
I was just gonna say, I was like, a lot of black concrete. I mean, tar going down. I'm like, man, this road's feeling a lot smoother.
It's probably easier too, since no one's allowed to drive.
Right. I'm sure that they were saying Florida was getting a lot of construction done.
Right.
A lot of big cities were, on the back of probably illegals. But
and that's one of the better things is that look, guess what? We're probably helping the planet out.
Gotta be.
We may not be doing great things for us, but we're helping the planet.
Facts.
So,
well, Damian, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
We got to get you back on. Hopefully, we don't get too locked down during this next quarantine. But again, thanks for coming out, bud.
Love it, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.